Hello, friends. Namaskaram. You're most welcome. Your resume is officially a relic of the past. As of today, July 14, 2026, the World's top corporation has stopped looking at where you went to school and started measuring how your brain processes chaos in real time. You aren't now applying for a job anymore. You're entering a high stakes simulation where every click is a data point. So, in this situation, what you should do to get a job? Let's explore this further. Tell me about a time you overcame a challenge. If you have applied for a job in the last decade, you know that question. You have rehearsed that answer. You have polished it. You have delivered it to a panel of people who are trying to read your body language while you are trying to hide the fact that your palms are sweating. But what if I told you that the day of that you know performative, scripted, anxiety inducing interview are fading? Welcome to 2026. If you are currently on the job hunt, you might have noticed something strange. You applied for a position, and instead of getting a request for a Zoom call, you got a link to an interactive simulation, which is a game. Today, we are talking about why your next job interview will be a video game. And more importantly, why the old rules, the ones you have been following since 2010 or even before, might just result in a game over screen before you even get to meet a human being. Let's be honest, the traditional interview is fundamentally broken. It relies on two flawed metrics: the resume, which is basically a marketing brochure, and the interview, which is a test of who is the best at acting. Companies have realized what a well written resume doesn't mean you can solve the problem. It just means you know how to write a resume. And a charismatic interview doesn't mean you have leadership skill. It just means you are good at chatting. For years, the HR department have been looking for an objective way to assess candidate. They wanted to strip away the biases, the unconscious preferences for people who went to the same school or talk the same way or share the same hobbies. They wanted data. They found it in the one place they didn't expect, which is the video game industry. So, what does a gamified interview actually look like in 2026? It is not a Super Mario. You're not jumping over the barrels. You're stepping onto the digital environment, a simulation of the roles you're applying for. Imagine you're applying for a project manager role. Instead of saying, I am good at prioritizing, the game put you in a room. You have three projects with conflicting deadlines, a budget deficit, and a team member who's underperforming. The clock is ticking, the AI is watching. It is not measuring if you win the game, it is measuring how you play. It's tracking your reaction time to the stressors. It is mapping your decision making patterns. It is analyzing whether you prioritize the budget, the team's morale, or the long term strategic goal. You aren't answering a question, you are demonstrating your competency in real time. For the employer, this is a gold mine. They aren't getting your story, they are getting your behavioral data. They can see how you handle the pressure when the screen starts flashing red. They can see how you communicate when the AI avatars challenge your authority. It's an efficient, it is scalable, and for the candidate who know how to play, it's actually kind of fun. But here is where the game is over and the warning comes in. This isn't just about the simulation, it's about the massive AI architecture that sits behind the curtain. In 2026, many companies are using what I call the cultural fit algorithm. When you play these gamified assessment, you aren't just sending data to a recruiter. You are actually feeding a massive neural network driven predictive model. This model has analyzed thousands of top performing employees at that company. It knows the DNA of their success. When you interact with the simulation, the AI is comparing your DNA, your decision making style, your adaptability, your risk tolerance against their high performers. If the algorithm determines you are a 40% match, you might be auto rejected. No human ever see your face, No human ever read your cover letter. This sounds harsh, I know, but it is the reality of high volume hiring world in 2026. The algorithm is the gatekeeper, and the gatekeeper has no patience for ambiguity. I know it sounds something out of a dystopian science fiction movie, but take a deep breath. There is a massive upside to this shift. Think about the traditional hiring process. You have to hope that the recruiter is in a good mood. You have to hope that they don't have a bias against your university, your accent, or your background. Gamification and AI assessment actually strip a lot of that away. The algorithm doesn't care about the pedigree. It doesn't care about the name on your degree. It cares about your output. It cares about your potential. If you are a talented person who didn't go to an Ivy League school or who has a non traditional background, these games are the best friends. They are a skill first equalizer. You have a chance to prove you can do the work regardless of who you are, where you came from. The interview of 2026 is becoming a meritocracy. You just have to learn how to play the game. So, how do you prepare for an interview that feels like a video game? Stop rehearsing answers. Start training skills. Don't memorize script. You need to sharpen your decision making and your emotional intelligence. Practice high pressure scenarios. Understand the why. If the game presents a crisis, don't just react. Think about the values the company is looking for. Are they a fast paced, risk taker culture or a collaborative, risk averse culture? The game will likely lean towards one of those. Don't panic at the failure state. In many of these simulations, there is no perfect score. The game might intentionally throw a disaster at you to see if you crumble. If things go wrong in simulation, don't shut down. The algorithm is looking for resilience. How you recover from bad movie, um, bad project is often more important than the move itself. The job market is changing. The rules are being rewritten by AI, by data, and by the gamification of your work lives. It can be intimidating, but it's also an opportunity. It means the resume black hole is finally being replaced by a direct assessment of your potential. Your next interview might be a video game, but remember, every game has a tutorial, and now you know what to look for. Stay adaptable, keep your head in the game, get ready to level up your career. Friends, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across, and I will see you in the next or the next level, next stage, or next level, or the next one. Bye for now.